Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 27. Today we're going to be jumping into the Gauntlet. If you're just going to jump straight into the gameplay, we are bringing the Stony Suppressor Scouts, the Taliyah Ziggs mid-range combo, and then the Lulu Fizz Yordles in arms. And so, if you've been keeping up with us over the past few weeks, if we ignore the previous week of Gauntlet to where we were trying to pick on the Sun Disk. Sun Disk was so super popular. We were trying to bring a lineup to where we could just beat it twice. If you can get paired into the Sun Disk twice with decks that just crush it, then you should have a pretty easy time winning out your Gauntlet. Now, the odd thing with the previous week was we didn't play it against the Sun Disk whatsoever. We played all 4 matches, saw it a total of 0 times. And so we didn't quite get to do that. I don't feel like it's really ultra necessary to try and pick off a single deck like that. And we're going to just fall back to a more general type strategy. And so what I will be looking to do here today is we're moving back to kind of the ban Pantheon strategy. Ideally, we won't run into players bringing both Pantheon and Victor Riven. Those would be the ideal decks for us to ban. Those are decks that are both quite good against scouts. Playing the Stony Suppressors, we are a little bit better against the Victors since Victor and Riven and getting Riven swords going and playing all the Reforges really gets hampered by the presence of Stony Suppressor. But it's just a matchup I don't really want to fool around with. And so with that in mind, if we're just going to be banning Victor, I've still decided to come out here with this list that's a little bit more focused on beating the Sun Disk. And where we've kind of been in the past in terms of scouts is assuming that we're just going to beat all the control decks, right? We're just powerful against darkness. We're okay against the things like the concurrent timelines Trundle. We're pretty strong against the AoE ramp decks. And so we're just kind of like focusing against the aggro decks. And not doing that so much now. I'm just bringing a lot more punch, as I like to call it. And so we are back to playing Genvivi. She helps us piece together these really ultra-powerful turns as to where we either play Genvivi or we play the 4 Demacia off the Vanguard Sergeant, and then we get the double attack with the Golden Aegis. And so we haven't played Genvivi in quite a while. She's back into action here. And then we're also playing the Mirai Wardens as just a little bit more board presence. We kind of alter the Mirai Warden in and out with the Tattered Bannerman, whatever her name is, the girl that makes the umbrella if you have an elite. Not bringing that today, not as aggro-centric. We're just running with the Mirai Warden. And then in addition to the thing that we've been kind of running around with in the Radiant Guardians, I don't feel like that's very necessary anymore. There's not as many burn decks running around, not seeing as much Elise aggro or pirates or Ziggs running around, although I do think this is a pretty good place for pirates to exist. And so, like we said, those are the big changes, and of course we're playing the Stony Suppressors here. They're pretty fantastic against any spell-centric deck, and so the likes of Ezreal, Caitlyn don't like it. All of the Caitlyn decks don't really like it. The Victor decks that we plan on to ban don't like it. Aphelios, not a huge fan of Stony Suppressor. There's just tons and tons of decks in the format that aren't really ready to deal with it. And we're the only people that ever play it. And so we preach the we preach the story of Stony Suppressor. Nobody ever listens, and so we're just going to continue on preaching until someone does. Deck number 2, bringing in the mid-range Taliyah Ziggs. Pretty standard, except that we don't typically see a ton of Ancient Preparations. I've really fallen in love with Ancient Preparations in this deck, as we tend to be out here looking for some real high-powered cards at specific points of the game. And so if we need to find an Absolver to get a win, or we need to find the Arsenal to get a win, if we need to pick up one of our small numbers of removal spells, we just, getting those predicts is quite useful. It also helps level up our Taliyah. It gives Taliyah something reasonable to copy. It's all around pretty useful, and it feels oftentimes just better than having something like a Preservarium. I really just like having the card selection that it brings at a pretty low cost. You don't feel horrible about it if you're into this terrible spot to where you have to just like play it and overwrite it. All in all, been pretty happy with it. The other thing that we don't do with this deck is play Pokestick. I find Pokestick to just be too slow. You don't find enough opportunities to where you're able to either get value out of it or win a combat with it. Every time I wanted Pokey Stick, I would rather have just had Shaped Stone. And so we are still playing the Quicksands here. I have had some runs to where we did play with 3 of the Shaped Stones, where we would play 2 Shaped Stone, 3 Unleashed Energies, some combination that didn't involve Quicksand. But I've grown pretty happy with the Quicksand and just being our kind of like big combat trick. It's not that challenging for us to bank up 3 mana and then find a really high-powered turn with this. But if you're not familiar with the combo aspects of this deck, kind of the idea is Taliyah flips. She throws those little rocks on the board, and then your opponent like blocks her with a 3/3, right? So the Taliyah rocks kill off the 3/3, only deal 2 damage to our opponent's face. That's not very much damage. But if we hit her with the Overwhelm half of the Absolver, that's going to take her up to 6 attack. So if we're in the same scenario, we're now going to punch in for 8 damage, right? 6 damage from her attack, 2 damage from the remaining rocks. It's a pretty strong way to come in and close out a game. And so lots of good aggression in here with more of a kind of combo kill, if you will, especially if you consider playing Unleashed Energies. And so you can kind of craft these turns to where your turn starts, you Unleashed Energy, you sacrifice a Sarcophagus from the Endless Devout. That puts the unit on board. Now you have this unit with +4 attack. Perhaps it's Taliyah, perhaps it's Ziggs. And then in the middle of combat, you play the Absolver to just crush through your opponent. Very easy to hit for a surprise 10 or 12 overwhelm damage. And our last one, it's kind of interesting. It's the Yordles in Arms deck. Lulu Fizz took some hits here recently in terms of nerfs. We are not playing Loping Telescopes anymore. It's just too slow. Now that it costs 3 mana, and you get pretty similar returns on investment out of Scrap Heap. And so the telescopes are gone. We're just playing the 1 Mayor, up to 3 Scrap Heaps now, the single Treasured Trash. The thing that I think is kind of interesting with this is I haven't seen a Yordles in Arms or Lulu Fizz like ever since the patch hit. Maybe you've played against it like once or twice in our couple hundred games or so we've played since it happened, but the deck has gone to be pretty non-existent, and I think it might just be the best deck in the format. And so I don't know if that's just a function of everyone is still hype about playing the Sun Disk, or if it's kind of old news. This was the big and troublesome deck of the previous format. I don't know what people's deal is, but this is still extremely, extremely powerful. And so I thought it was kind of interesting in terms of everyone on Reddit and all of their infinite wisdom just bitching about what a load of trash it was that Riot didn't ban Yordles in Arms. All the tournament winners hanging out in the general Reddit chat knew the power of Yordles in Arms months and months ago, and they can't believe those dumb shit developers at Riot never came along and banned it or nerfed it or fixed it. And here we are. It's so powerful. We've played it like 3 times in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, and so it never fails to blow my mind how the hot takes can be just super, super hot and completely wrong all in the same. But nonetheless, I guess I'm giving a bit of a competing argument. I think it's still the best deck in the format here. If it's not the best, then I think Scouts is likely still the best. Just decks that are still climbing back up in the meta because everyone's used to them and wanting to play with the new cards. Now the people are kind of sun-disked out, or they're just probably still watching the animations. You can't get that many games in when you're just watching like 8 minutes of animations every game, and they're just kind of forgetting about the power of Lulu Fizz. And so if you're not familiar with this deck, the big thing you can do here is you can use the Boom Baboon or either the Flame Chompers to get one of these on board quickly. So the kind of ideal curve would be a Boom Baboon on 2, puts the Flame Chompers in your hand. Turn 3, you play Lulu, and then you burst the Flame Chompers onto the board. And so you just play Lulu. You only have 1 mana, but you can discard it to Poro Cannon. The Poro Cannon puts the Chompers on the board, and then you get this 4/4 Challenger attack while you're still strong with the 3 attack Baboon and the Lulu on the board. So ultra powerful plays there, and then you tend to just close out games with elusives. And so we're going to have the Poro Cannons generating the Poros. Fizz can get elusive if you cast a spell. You have Yordle Captain to boost their attack, and then you have Yordles in Arms to give them all bonus attacks. So the idea being, if you have 2 Daring Poros on the board, you have a Fizz on the board, and play the fully powdered Yordles in Arms, you're coming in for 16 elusive damage, and should be enough to close out the game. If it's not, you have this nice collection of burn spells between the Mystic Shot, Pokestick, and Get Excited to help close it out. But that's going to be our lineup. As you know, we do pay the pay-to-win price, and I've gone through, I found the cheapest option that we have. Everything to this point is premium, except for one card, one rare, Treasured Trash. Well, that was incorrect. I still have epics and champions that we need to premium up. This is the only common or rare that is remaining to turn premium. And so, here we go, Treasured Trash, locked and loaded. Let's get ourselves on into battle. Get that sound on as well. My beautiful voice isn't enough for everybody. You gotta get the game sounds in here as well. And so let's pick the decks. Where you at? Taliyah Ziggs, Suppressor Scouts, Yordles and Arms. Confirm, animations made. And let's do it. Here it is. Oh, right. What do we got here? This is just going to be a Pantheon ban. I'm not exactly sure what this Gangplank Callista is supposed to be. I think the last time we ran into this stuff, it was people trying to do like AoEs with powder kegs. But I'm still a little bit more afraid of this Yuumi Pantheon. And so we might run into some problems here in the beginning. Oh, cool. He just banned out Scouts. I would think Scouts would be a pretty good matchup for the AoE deck, but maybe that's not what it is. But we'll just bring the old Yordles and Arms into it, see what happens. All right, terrible start. We'll stick to the Bomber Twins, look for some other cheaper plays. All right, not the worst. A bit of value in here would really benefit from a Lulu or a discard card, but be all right. All right, and I'm going to kick it off with the Bomber Twins. It's like, I still kind of feel like this is the like AoE deck, and if they're going to be playing Vile Feasts and stuff on us, I would rather not have our first unit just die to Vile Feast. You fall so super far behind if that's the case. This is good. And we did pick up the discard card here in Scrap Heap, so we could do stuff like play the Boom Baboon and then discard a Flame Chompers to it. Nice with the Urchin as well. Lets us develop a pretty big board without a ton of effort. What up, Fizz? So, I mean, I think that's what we're up against is the AoE powder keg stuff. It's like not a great place to get popped by an AoE, but I think we can get a big unit on board here out of the Scrap Heap. So let's see what comes out of this. We'll just take whatever the most expensive one we can play is. Well, I do like the Geode Mechaforcer when we're out here playing with the Flame Chompers. Maybe that is the place to be. Okay. Okay, I've convinced myself. Maybe we'll play the Diaz as well. We'd probably rather just discard the Diaz to Scrap Heap. He brings in Petty Officer. Okay. So that is a powder keg generating card, but he went for the unit with it. I think we're on point with what this guy's trying to do. Arc Beast, okay. So this way we'll trade out the Flame Chompers with the Powder Monkey. That's fine. We'll still have one Flame Chompers on board to get to do nasty things. He doesn't have any units big enough to just, or small enough to just get killed by the Mechaforcer now either. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good attack. Pretty good attack. That's all we're bringing. Interesting with Fizz. Fizz is like when you have the flip with Fizz and the Playful Trickster. Like being able to make an attack next turn with the Mecha Forcer and the Chompers, and then recalling the unit with the Trickster. It's kind of powerful, kind of interesting. But let's go with the Mayor here, see what he turns up. Yordle Rangers is the biggest thing. That's fine. Bring in the Fizz. He's clearly not going to AoE us at this point. There is an argument to want to come in and pop this Monkey Idol with our Pokey Stick, but I think we could just go ahead and take down the Bark Beast. We'll still have the mana next turn to get a Playful Trickster going. Cool. Alright, not blocking. What's it say? Oh, 4 damage. Like, why does it say 4 damage? I forgot about the Crackshot Corsair. Okay. Still a pretty healthy life total just to go ahead and eat that. Oh, poor Fizz. There goes all of our plans. But let's be real, things are still looking pretty good here as we pick up a Yordle in arms. I don't think we can lethal with it this turn though. Let's just go with the Ranger. We could still play Fizz, but we want to give him a point of health with the Ranger. I was envisioning all these multiple attacks with the Emperor's Diaz, like we're just out here doing Azir things. Classic value generation. All you expeditioners probably remember having the Warden's Prey, Chronicler of Ruin combos. The Pesky Spectre. You got it. So I'm going to attack like this. It does give him a good block with the Chronicler of Ruin onto one of our smaller units down here. I just don't care. This Crackshot Corsair is the only unit that really matters here. This is his only way to deal damage to us. And so we'll get rid of it. Potentially stop. Like, I don't think he's playing Plunder stuff. I think I'm still pretty on point with what he's doing, but we'll stop it if that's what he was actually trying to do. What up, Cursed Keeper? Here comes the AoE. He's got to do it just to show us that we were right. There it is. I knew it. Okay, then we're gonna. He just gives up. I was gonna say we're gonna open with Yordle in arms, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the 6th unit on the board, but didn't need it. Nice, got him. That's right, my dude. But see, that's like why I was surprised that he banned out our Scouts deck, because you typically want to be running this this Powder Keg AOE thing into Scouts. So that was an odd ban. I guess maybe if he thought that we would ban the AoE thing, he might have good matchups with the other ones. I don't know. I don't know, my dudes. He switches to the stuns. Sure. What do we got here? This is not much of a start. Let's go ahead and get rid of everything and look for some of the cheaper plays. Again, not great. The Hexplosive Minefields can be useful against the likes of Yasuo. Just as... if they want to make, you know, a play where they just drop a 4-drop for all of their mana and we shut it down for 1, that's a pretty good deal on our end of the spectrum, but this hand doesn't have a lot of power to it. But little booms are just as good as big ones, and so you always got to put that into consideration. Ziggs turning up, ready to party. Looks good. Ew. Ew. Well, it's like, to what degree do we care about this tasty Feyfolk in that we have good answers to it next turn? So it's like, the way that this turn is a disaster is if he attacks with the Feyfolk, we block with the Chemist, and then he has a Twin Disciplines. Is that, I don't know. I wouldn't call that a disaster. I don't think it's even that bad. Let's get Ziggs going. If he doesn't have the trick and he just doesn't get to attack with the Feyfolk, that's pretty strong for us as well. So we didn't hit any new plays. We just attack. Maybe not just yet. Let's see how this goes. Let's drop our first minefield. See if he adds any units to the board. Like, I mean, I really doubt he wants to come down and just play like Yasuo here, but he's got to do something. Oh, that's pretty juicy. You have the Absolver in hand in case something goes completely wrong here.
One for you and one for you.
Okay. I'm liking it. I'm liking everything that's happening. Looking towards the naturalists to pick up the units. That's where we're really behind at the current point. It's just like this hand has been ultimately pretty awkward in that we've needed like 3 mana to do quicksands and Rite of the Arcanes and such, and we've just been a little bit off. You're not the one doing stuns, Yasuo. We're bringing the stuns today. the stun deck learning how to do it. Nice. Are we just going to lethal next turn? Where are we at? We got, assuming like he can't block anything, right? We've got 6, 7, 8 with the Ziggs, 9, 10 off the unit, 11, 12, like 17 with the Rock Bear. Then we'll do another 2 when the preparations flip. It's like the downside to trying to go big here is if he has a concussive palm, he can quite easily shut down our board. I don't think we're going to get it this turn, but we did just draw Taliyah. Again, like the downside to just dropping Taliyah here is we can't get the overwhelm out of the Absolver. But this should be like a pretty reasonable turn to just quicksand. Okay. Yasuo bringing in the slices. You gonna do something? You gonna concuss a palm on Taliyah? I'm looking at just play quicksand here. Depends on what he does. If he just passes, I mean, no, if he just passes, he dies. So I guess just pass is not gonna be in his repertoire. Still lethals? Maybe he just doesn't realize he's about to get lethaled. Okay. Well, alrighty then. We at least get to watch the Yasuo animation. Not nearly as long as that Sundisk stuff. GG. We got him. First match. Mark it a W for bust. Okie dokie. Round 2. Again. What do we got here? All right. Oh man, I was wondering if this was going to happen to us where we had to play against both Pantheon and Victor Riven. I think though with this matchup, the thing that might carry us through this is we should annihilate Teemo. And so I feel kind of okay about it. In terms of like the matchups themselves, I know that Fizz Lulu is good against Victor Riven. Taliyah Ziggs isn't horrible. It's just like with Fizz Lulu, you have the you have the elusives to stop a big portion of their plan, and so I think I'm leaning towards just banning Pantheon. Maybe opponent bans Yordles and Arms, maybe they don't. But I think at the end of the day, we should have 2 good matchups against Caitlyn, and then potentially at least 1 good matchup against Fizz Riven. And so I'm going to start with the Taliyah Ziggs, just in the event that opponent plays their deck on the left. I would rather have our Yordles and Arms deck able to line up against Riven. All right. Got what we wanted. Okay, not super amped about any of this stuff. We need to be getting on the ground and crushing quickly. And so very happy to pick up a 1-2-3 curve here. This is the downside against Teemo, though, is we don't have great ways to deal with the turn 1 Teemo. Kind of need to dig for quicksand. It's not like completely unfortunate if we don't draw it, and we could technically take Ziggs to try and bouncing bomb into Teemo. I think that's the angle we'll take here, but if he doesn't have turn 1 Teemo, I'll feel pretty good about this. Got it. Say something about how lucky this guy is. That's the way it works, right? But not the end of the world. Like, we can try and pop him on turn 4. It's just we don't want to be taking flipped hits off of the Teemo. If we just take if we're just taking these front side hits, it's not that big of a deal. It's the flipped hits that's a problem. Poison Dart's efficient. I give you that.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
Alright, Ziggs, let's boom him. Interesting. Curious if our Ziggs is just going to get popped by a poison dart, right? We should have attacked with the Clockling as well, but it's pretty suspicious when he just slams down Caitlyn. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. I'm curious if he opens on us now. Right, if he opens it, it'll flip the Teemo, but he's not in the space to where he's getting the flipped hits on us. It's the physical mushroom cloud. Ugh. Gross. Okay. All right, now we have a fairly awkward set of cards here. It's like I kind of want to get the Hexplosive Minefield down because it's a better copy for Taliyah. It's a better hit for the Desert Naturalist as well, but might need it to put a point of damage down or potentially get a stun on Teemo. So I'm going to go with the prep here. You can also just look for quicksand out of the preparations. Found Ziggs. Yeah, this angle is so slow. But as we've always said in Expedition, you can take the 1 hit off of a Teemo, you can't take the second one. The second one will just end the game. And so as much as this sucks, I think I'm kind of okay with coming down with the bouncing bomb. He did have to spend a physical and real Teemo to do that mushroom cloud on the previous turn. So it's not a humongous chance that he's going to have an additional one in hand, right? He would have had to have drawn all three Teemos up to this point. So that might give us a bit of an edge here. Good, good. He didn't have one. Right now, if he plays Teemo, we have a stun ready for it.
Oh, if mushrooms could talk.
Okay.
I've always been a fun guy.
If I stumble, I have the earth to catch me. Distance
You got the earth to catch you, Taliyah. That's very nice. Very sweet. Alright, might be okay. Might be okay. It will look pretty decent if we pick up a Rite of the Arcane and get to shut down 2 units next turn. We're not like in real puff cap trouble here. We're just on about a damage a turn. Beautiful, beautiful. Hit the right. Okay. So we're going to have to draw a bunch of cards this turn, but we are in a pretty good space just to come in and get a lethal. Okay.
if it was
One little boom, one big one. Okay, but I kind of like to see him play 2 units so we can ideally stop everything. We have the mana here, right? We just need the 3 mana for the Rite of the Arcane. So we can play the Inventive Chemist, give him a chance to add something to the board, and then potentially shut down all of his units with our Rite of the Arcane. That's an expensive one. Okay, destroy a landmark. Let's deal 4 to the Conchologist. I don't suspect something's going to go wrong with hitting the Nyandroid, but this is the guaranteed safe way to go about it. He's only got 1 mana. This should be done. All right. I think we squeezed the butt cheeks hard enough to get out of that one. Good job. Good job, squad. And so now I feel pretty decent, right? Again, the Yordles and Arms is a decent matchup against Riven, and it's definitely a positive matchup against the Teemo deck. For us, get some kind of fuzz. See, looks like some kind of growth. We picked our deck right. This always weirds me out when it takes forever. We're good. We're locked in. Did he disconnect? Did he drop that phone in the toilet? He said the bus strategy was just too much for me. All right. Good start here. Good start. We have this draw to where we are on the evens, so it doesn't play out like as powerfully, but we have the Boom Baboon on 2 with the Flame Chompers in hand, the Lulu on turn 3, and then the Scrap Heap to discard the Flame Chompers. Now, it just gets a little bit slower here in that we're on the even attacks instead of the odds. And so a little bit different sequencing to try and get the maximum damage in here. All right. I'm going to lead out with the Bomber Twins, and then we'll cycle around back, because ideally on our turn 4 we'll be using the Scrap Heap to maybe get a second unit. Okay, it's going to trade with the Stinky. But right, this is now a space to where we can play Lulu on turn 3. On turn 4, we can play the Baboon, discard the Flame Chompers with the Scrap Heap, and then maybe play a 2-cost Mecha Yordle. This game's not going that well, though. The blockers for our 2-drops is pretty powerful. It gives us a bit of time to also try and find a what you call it? A Mystic Shot. We have all these burn spells and all these pokey sticks in here. We have some pretty reasonable options in terms of direct damage we could send at Teemo. I know we didn't keep any in our opener, but maybe we could have like mulliganed away the Bomber Twins to look for something. But I'm certainly happy to keep the combination of the Chump Lumps is awful. Then we whiffed on our on our other ones. Shit, this is bad. Just take the cheap one. So there's no ones that we can pick up, but now it's like I kind of feel like we have to just start looking for burn spells. So let's drop the Zonite Urchins. This is going to be like our last chance to play these before our deck gets too loaded up with puff caps. I think I want to keep the Yordles in Arms. Let's keep the Boom Baboon as well. There is a world where we get to use the we get to use the Flame Chompers next turn, right? Because if we want a good attack here, we have to hook the Chump Wump with the Flame Chompers. It's kind of wild, though. I mean, we're 9 cards into the deck and haven't seen a burn spell yet. Interesting. It doesn't interact with Lulu. Alright. So we're taking the Teemo hit. This is just the first one, so it's not lights out just yet. And we're gonna have to get a Yordles and Arms hit in next turn. So we need to make sure the most mana we could spend next turn is 1. But we should be in pretty good shape here. Okay, can't do anything about that. Would we rather add in a Bandle City Mayor? I'm not amped about it. It's like I really want to get the Boom Baboon, the Urchin, and the Flame Chompers on board. This is just going to have to be okay. Really not a space where we want to be drawing a card, but we'll see. We'll see. Take that little 3-piece nugget. How big is this one? 2? 8? It's been worse. I've dealt with worse. And so here, let's just say he doesn't have anything to do. We get in with 3 units. That's a game. If we get in with 2 units, though, we should also have the game here, right? If we get to hit with both 2 of the Zaunite Urchins, that's going to be 12 damage, and we still have Get Excited. And so I don't feel like completely terrible here. If he wants to, say, play a Mystic Shot on a unit and then block 2. Whoa, oh my god, draw 4? Okay, then. Let's just go ahead and take down his blocker. We're looking not that great here. I guess it's kind of closer to a coin flip than I was giving it credit for, but I don't think this is going to be that good for us. Okay, 1. Squeeze them cheeks, boys. 3 total. Alright. GG. The cheeks were appropriately squeezed. I'm telling you, this guy, he probably doesn't know the strategy. We've been around the block a couple times. We know how you got to squeeze the cheeks once Teemo's out there. Get you a nice butt exercise. All right, GG. But yeah, a little closer than I would have wanted him to be, but that match at least played out as expected. Getting to beat up on the Teemo deck. I feel pretty good about the ban on Pantheon there. The ban. Pantheon, if you will. Nice. All right, now what do we got here? So, what is this, Sejuani? Not quite sure what this stuff is. I assume the middle deck here is the kind of like classic Yordles and Arms. No, this is Bandle Tree, right? It's Bandle Tree here out of the middle whenever you see Noxus with the Bandle City. I think I'm fine to leave the Sun Disk in. You know, the Scouts matchup for it's not that great. All of our decks should be okay against the Bandle Tree. I'm mainly not sure what this Braum deck is, but I feel like that's the one that's going to give us the most trouble. And so I think ideally here he would actually just be banning Scouts, because it is our worst deck against the Sun Disk. But we can start with Taliyah Ziggs. I feel good with Taliyah Ziggs against both of these. A little less so about running Yordles and Arms into Bandle City. They have more interactive elements. All right, so I want this to be like as aggressive as possible. We should hang on to this Ancient Preparations. It's tough with the Endless Devout, right? They can kind of just like ignore it for a while. I feel like if we're playing against somebody like pretty experienced with Bandle Tree, they're just gonna throw a Yordle Squire in front of it and then throw something in front of it 2 turns later, and then at that point the sarcophagus isn't super relevant. So I'm going to let it go. It feels a little sketchy doing that, but guess where we want to be. We'll lead with the Chemist here. We miss out on the predict for our first turn, but we get to open here. Just a pretty good chance we don't find a 2-drop. So if we lead with the Chemist, we get to open on this board. Sure. I'd like to prepare. What do we got? This is a bunch of garbage. I think this is just a pass. Okay. I could see like picking up a Preservarium, but we're not going to play it for like a million turns. Bringing out the telescope. I forgot what it feels like to play the telescopes. It's been so long. Okay. This would be a much nicer space if his telescope only had 1 health. What? This is pretty not ideal. Not having the mana here is pretty abysmal. This is a terrible block as well, but okay. Why is he just putting the damage on our Ziggs? That's so strange. I wonder if that was intentional or just sloppy. They want to like if they hit Ziggs with a Scorched Earth, that feels like a pretty big win for us. Okay. Oh, brutal. That's brutal.
You dropped something.
Okay, maybe we'll find something we can play. Nope. Who would have thought of that? All right. Well, I don't know about this one anymore. This has just been like the complete low roll of a draw. Is that 3 damage, right? How many of these cards do we want to play? Now we need our Ziggs back. Oh, this is so painful. All right, we got to hang on to the Absolver. That's how we actually close out these games. But I don't know about this one anymore. It's like I kind of it felt like the removal spell was going to come in. I thought it was just going to be a Scorched Earth as opposed to a Buster Shot. I mean, maybe we shouldn't have discarded or played the Ziggs Bomb. But like, what else are we doing this turn, right? It just with a handful of like 3 combat tricks, 2 burn spells, and then 5 mana. Yep, not surprised to see this. Okay. Brutal. Hi, Taliyah. It's like, it's pretty tempting to just not play her, but 3 attacks should be enough. What a game. Okay. That feels like a gigantic win. She wasn't doing anything. Alright, Ancient Prep, you gotta get something good for us.
Let's go. Grab my hat. Comb my mustache.
Man, it's so tempting just to pick up the Preservarium now. We gotta just have stuff to do. We have plenty of mana just to cycle it next turn. Oof. Don't mind me, I'm just hanging out with all these Rite of the Arcanes I can't play. I guess we technically could have played one there, but it doesn't feel super worth. What? That's really the best card coming out? Well, I could see the Grand Plaza being decent here, I guess. take down the mayor, but definitely need some work to happen here. Sure. Just let him go ahead and get all his luck out of the way. Let him get the ridiculous epic off of this one, and we can move on. We'll just say we used all our bad luck this game. He used all his good ones, and then we'll just proceed. Gosh. All right. No, it's not the worst for us. I mean, I would suspect he's going to clear the board right back out, but... this guy has the overwhelm. I don't think the point of damage is going to matter that much. Oh no, I clicked the wrong one. Fuck. Oops. Okay. Okay, not bad. But that was tough. That was a super, super low roll of a draw. Not a lot we could do about that. Man, I felt much better about playing against Bandletree twice as opposed to playing the Sun Disc twice, but we can still do it. I'm going to switch over to Lulu Ziggs here. I think this is still a pretty good matchup for both of our decks, but that's kind of a rough loss. All right, hope you didn't have anything to do later. You gotta you gotta get ready for the time it takes to play the Sun Discs here. Now let's hang on to the Urchin. It's like I really want to come in and just find a Poro Cannon, but it's too challenging to mulligan into. They do play Rockhoppers. We'll hang on to that mana. Maybe we'll pick. It gives us the opportunity to pick up a. It gives us a chance to pick up a. What you called a thing by the third turn. The discard thing. We're not going to use it now. We're going to drop in the Urchin and then we're going to just open with Lulu next turn. But was trying to get a chance to drop a Flame Chompers. Okay. No need to get too crazy on this board. Not really excited about killing the Endless Devout. We'd just be chunking in for 4 damage. We can do better. Serath, interesting. So we didn't open, right? We might get a little punished. Oof. Ooh, scrap heap. I'm gonna say it's like when we take lines like this, we're gonna get super punished if he manages to hit like a like the destroy a landmark, deal damage thing. But I don't think that's as important now. Do we actually want this Shadow Tech Walker? I don't think we need the elusive, but where's our Yordles in arms at? We have 1 Shurima. It's at 3? Okay, so we won't need to pick a different faction, so we can go with the Professor Von Mech. Not bad. Gonna kill our Lulu. This is the danger in not opening. Sure, he goes for the Mana Crystal. Works for me. And then I want to hook the Endless Devout. I don't want him getting that Sarcophagus. We can deal with Xerath in due time, but The Sarcophagus is the problematic card for us. Ancient Hourglass, sure. It's going to come back and pop our Zonite Urchin. Not a big deal. I did the analysis on if that was a big deal. It was not. I checked it out, did the math. Ew, that's kind of nasty. But he hits the weakest unit, right? Now landmark is destroyed, deal 1 to the weakest enemy. So if we say Flame Chomper the Endless Devout, or if we get excited the Endless Devout, the Flame Chompers will come on the board and eat both of the Roiling Sands. I think that's okay. The only downside is like I want to get a full board this turn. And that leaves us like a little bit short of a full board. So what if we do it with the Scrap Heap? I think that's probably the better way to go about it. So we want a Scrap Heap, discard Flame Chompers. It'll come down. It's going to eat the Roiling Sands. Trump Tecker, nice. Is that who we want? Can't, we can play the Trump Tecker this turn, but it's not going to boost the board. I think we want to save it for next turn, though. He's an okay pickup. Oh, it didn't even blow up the Flame Chompers yet. So the Trumpet Tecker is a little bit interesting here, but I don't think that's what we want. Here's the Feline. Zerath hits the thing. That Sun Disc is a dropping. The Bomber Twins. The Pickpocket will fill out our board. Oh, shit. That's annoying. We could have sequenced that better. That's I hope that's not what this game comes down to. That could be a problem. He can get a 4th unit on board now. It would cause him to lose everything, but I think we might have just punted that. We could have played like any unit in our hand. I just played the Feline first. Oh fuck. Okay. See if he has another unit. We can currently hit for 9. I mean, if we can take him to 3, we can kill with Get Excited. That's bad. That is bad. So we should just have Zerath here at the end of the day. Okay. Alright, let's see if he's got that Azir. We can maybe beat through an Azir. Depends on how much we can fill out our board here. Poro Cannon was a choice draw. So he's going to get the Azir, but he's not going to be able to play any more cards.
Follow me. I know where I'm going.
Doesn't play him. All right. Do we have the stuff to play Get Excited? So if we want to say play Poro Cannon, I think we're gonna run out of cards. Maybe not. Interesting. Oh, we're never coming through for ground damage from this point forward. We'll just let this attack hit. Okay, there's the Get Excited. We can discard the Hierophant. This play doesn't completely work if he has a If he has a quicksand. We can wait until next turn to get excited, though. Well, it's pretty scary. He doesn't have any landmarks right now, I guess. You'd only be taking him to 7. Yeah, we need to get the bonus damage on these.
All of this is ours.
Okay. Feels like we're about to run into a quicksand, but don't want to play the Yordle captain because if we do the 6 damage with the Poros, we need 2 cards to discard to our Get Exciteds. Yep. Okay. It's down to 7. 1 short. 1 short. There. Oh, is the Mystic Shot? Okay, well. Okay. We know we at least got enough burn damage in hand as long as we don't die to the dumb stuff. Oh, hang on. Just. I got excited with the Mystic Shot draw, then I realized we're just going to be here for an hour. Okay.
And I thought there was something good to see.
Okay.
Sing me the song of the rock.
Not dead yet, right? Not dead yet.
Yeah, why not? Let's hear it.
Are we 10? It's like 15. Depends on if he attacks with everything. Maybe he'll leave Zerath at home. Ooh. Oh, I forgot these sandstone chargers come in like this. Where are we at? Takes us to neg 1. So if we do the Mystic Shot, we only fall to 2. God damn it. I don't think we have a better way. I mean, I guess the Mystic Shot onto the Sandstone Charger is better. Oh, we can do that though, right? What if we do this? 1. Okay. So now we can deal 1 from the impact, 6 with the Get Exciteds. Maybe. Maybe they're Fam Jam.
The sun disk has risen, and with it, Serena.
Oh, what even got destroyed? When allied landmark is destroyed or round start. Oh, what a dumb shit card. All right. Whatever. Ah, that's a brutal one. I think that one's on me. I did not play that one to the greatest of our abilities. We're not knocked out of the thing, but I feel like we should have won that game. That's kind of like an ideal space for us to be in, and just getting the completely terrible draw with Taliyah Ziggs into punting that Sun Disc match is what will do it for you. But I still feel pretty good about our lineup up against the Sun Disc, especially if they come in and then just ban scouts. Okay, with these, I'm not the hugest fan of playing against Trundle Lysandra. That's gonna be is it some kind of rampy deck? I don't know. It's whenever I see these Shadow Isles Freylord decks, they tend to just be playing tons and tons and tons of AoE. And I don't really like that, especially when it comes to having to perhaps run scouts and Yordles and arms to it. So we'll take the ban on it. Never really scared about Karma, and I feel pretty good about unit-based matchups into opponents. It's a place where I feel pretty good. All right. See if we can't get some Stony Suppressors down for this guy. Say, I see you're playing Easy Karma. Have you met Stony Suppressor? This is tough. Like, I don't care about the combat this turn. Like, I am 100% okay with playing a unit passing this turn. The way that this is horrible is if we drop the Duran Sculptor and he has a Mystic Shot. That's like what we don't really want. Like, but it's like our board is so big and powerful if we're able to get Misfortune in with 4 health and then the boosted units with the Island Navigator. It's so tough for them to come in and deal enough damage after you do that, but he had it. Is what it is. And to get excited? Aftershock. Okay. Okay. Don't really want to send in the scouts, but this is probably the way to do it. He doesn't have, like, if he's just going to be playing removal spells on us, then we want the bigger plays here. Yeah, we get 4 damage in with the Fleet Feather Tracker now. That's pretty choice. It's like having your own little Quinn bird.
The spirit gives to those who listen. Nothing gets between me and my mark.
Can he play 2 spells this turn? It's going to be kind of tough to do. But this unit, like the way that the Eye of the Dragon becomes problematic is if they get a second one on the board. The first one is like pretty manageable. The second one is the real pain in the ass. Do we want to play the Sculptor? I was like really looking to play a Golden Aegis this turn, but it's going to serve kind of like the same purpose next turn. I think we can look to just get a full board and then Golden Aegis on our next turn. Maybe not even get a full board. I mean, we can play 2 next turn.
Scouting ahead.
All right, there's the scout attack. Maybe we'll come back in with another barrier or something. Lots of options for this turn. Okay, that's pretty slow. Pretty slow, my dude. What you got for us? The big decision has been made. All right. So what are we going to come into next turn? Like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 7 mana turn. Yeah, let's just full board.
All right, let's get to work. A little reinforcement at the seams. My deal is yours.
We have the 1 scout unit already, right? And we can always like open with the Golden Aegis onto Quinn. We just chunk in more damage this way, hitting with the Broadwing. We get in for an extra 2 damage. Sure. Still in a pretty good spot. Gonna say what up to my rallies. Okay. Another one. Need to be getting on the board and not spending mana on value. Feels pretty good seeing him play Deep Meditations. Like, the Concussive Palm would be annoying, but we still beat a Concussive Palm here, and so not a big deal. All right. Mark it a win for the Scouts. Okay, and then think he banned Taliyah Ziggs, so we get to battle on with the Yordles in arms. Really hoping to drop Stony suppressors onto that guy. So good whenever they come at you like that. I'm still not sure on that late turn 2 play as to whether or not we should have played the Broadwing or played the actual unit, but here I'm kind of like leaning towards this. I like playing the early scrap heap. I like the idea of potentially hitting one of these turn 2 Mecha Yordles. The Urchin we don't really need. The Yordle Captain, a little slow. Like to find a Lulu or something. Okay, I want the Yordle Captain back. Never mind, there's Lulu. So how slow do we want to take this since he actually has the unit? I guess it doesn't hurt to just go for it. And then if we miss, we can fall back to the Boom Baboon. I really like taking the Trumpet Tecker in these matches. Just the big AoE stat boost is quite nice. Getting all MAGA with the Trump Tecker, right? He's got his red hat on and everything, ready to get out here getting all MAGA and shit. All right. Not a bad start, I think. I don't think this Lulu's going to be surviving too often, but I don't think there's a reason to also just not play her. I mean, it's not a horrible spot to bank some mana, but that's just not what our deck's trying to do. So it's like, ideally, next turn we'll just get to like open for 7, but I think what's realistically going to happen, she's going to get hit with like a Thermogenic Beam. Get excited, sure. Trying to see what he discarded. Deny. Interesting. Interesting. Losing out on the deny against the Yordles in arm stack. So much Flame Chompers. But, I mean, the Trump Tecker will look pretty good with him next turn. Give all of our little Poros a little boost. Curious if we should have just passed here as a deep meditation. It doesn't seem like it's ever that useful. He's not going to come at us like too hard with this stuff to get like a real punish on us, like skipping on the mana. He's probably pretty happy to see us just skip if that's what's gonna come about. Oh, come on. He hit the Hexite Crystal. So, I mean, we can play the Trump Tecker, and that protects both of our Mecha Yordles, or protects both of our Flame Chompers. We're going to lose the Poros. There's nothing we can do about that, but feels much better against the Crystal now that we're going to preserve some of our stats. What is that? He would have had 30-ish cards, so it would have been a 1 out of 33 times, however that works out. Some other nerd can put forth the mathematics on that one. We just don't have any options here. It's like we're going to get crystalled. I mean, I guess it's at least good that we know that that's about to happen, but this is really the best we can do here. Okay. Everything else is active though at this point. We just have to have something go right, and so I'll drop both of our units here. He's gonna have some amount of removal spells, whatever, but we should at least be kind of safe to play whatever we draw next turn. Didn't hit that treasured trash. Alright, the Bandle City Mayor was a good pickup. Everything here should be pretty safe. I just want to pick up like the most expensive one that we have, which is going to be the Aloof Travelers.
Let's go. Grab my hat. Comb my mustache.
You dropped something.
I dropped everything.
You got a Yordle Captain. He loses a Concussive Palm. Interesting. So the most expensive card in his hand was a 4. Are we going to get burned out next turn? He has like 1,000,000 spells in his hand. Like a good percentage of those spells have to be get exciteds and be mystic shots. All right. Well, we got our card. And again, he did discard a deny earlier. He's already got another one. Oh man, he discarded a 4 as well. I wonder if that was the card he just drew. I can't hand read in this game.
The spirit gives to those who listen.
All right, let's get some stats on board. We can hit for like 10. Gets us close to burning him out. The deny. I mean, I'm not surprised to see them have spells in their hand. He played 3 Deep Meditations this game. Just the frustrating sequencing that this has been. Okay. See if he does anything else. I mean, we can like Mystic Shot face and still attack with Fizz, but I feel like it's okay to just kind of call this turn a wash and be done with it. We got to get like something going, whether or not it's bigger units with the Yordle Captain or another Yordle in arms, a Treasured in Trash. Bomber Twins was not on the list. Not exactly the bro we were looking for.
Big place. Let's see all of it.
Oh, well, I guess we can stop there. I can put Fizz in front of Ezreal.
Shall we bully off?
I don't think we want to play anything this turn, though. Like, one of our big draws would be actually a Yordle Captain. If we can make these Daring Poros 3/3s, that would be pretty good. Again, we just got to have, like, something go right, something in our favor.
Time. I need more time.
Okay. Sure. What do we got? The Flame Chompers won't do it. And so, I mean, I'm still pretty happy with that, right? Again, it's like you have a 1 in 30 chance to hit a Hexite Crystal on the predict, so you have like a 1 in 30 3 times, whatever that is. Like, what's 1 in 30? Like a 3%. And so you have a 3%, 3%, 3%. That gets you to like, that it doesn't just add up, so it's like a 7% chance. And so I feel like, you know, we win that game 93% of the time, right? He can just predict absolutely perfectly outside of hitting his Hexite Crystal, and we win the game. Him hitting the crystal was enough to take it down. So, kind of is what it is, as they say. But I'm still reasonably happy with that outcome. Now it's like kind of unfortunate because we have to play a more even matchup in Action Sivir.
Quick hands make quick work.
Step like
Okay, this guy's a problem. We got rid of our Pokestick. There's not tons of units in Action Sivir that the Pokestick actually hits. And so I was happy enough to go ahead and just get rid of it. Boom Baboon's good.
Don't want to die? Don't do terrible things.
Find
Not a super compelling action to interact with. We'll try and Mystic Shot him down eventually. Just not right now. It's too easy for him to have a bunch of useful cards here to protect him. Like if he has a Shape Stone and chunks in for 1,000,000 damage, that's all pretty terrible for us. Is this a real one? I think I discarded the wrong one, but it's okay. Who do we want? I'm leaning towards the Crasher. It's just a little bit cheaper. Just not the hugest fan of the discard requirement one. Ooh. What up, Fizz? I'll go ahead and drop you. We're looking to pick up the either another cheap one, or we want to hit, ideally the one we would be hitting is the +2/+2 support one.
Got your back.
Sure. Didn't hit it. Challenger's kind of interesting. Maybe this is the space, like, maybe this is the space where the impact one's okay. I see like Trumpet Tecker hanging out down here, but I don't think he's going to work this turn. I want to hook something with the Bouncer and Bolt. Right, we can hook action with the Flame Chomper we're going to throw away. We can get a trade on this other thing. Yeah, that's less ideal. But let's battle.
Coming in.
We're in a decent space to come out here and just spew because we have the Treasured Trash in hand. So we should get to throw it down on turn 7 with a pretty empty hand. And then whatever we draw should be kind of boosted as well since we hit with the Fury Horn. I dig it.
Almost got it.
Obelisk of Power. You're not seeing the light of day, my friend. It's just not happening with you.
Got me good.
More Zonite Urchins? Alright. I guess. I guess that's where all our stats went.
Gonna make a meal of 'em.
It's like Varg's about to make a meal of them, that's for certain.
Villains beware.
No fear. Roll 'em over.
So I mean, his like action's gonna flip this turn, right? It's not a ton we can do about that. We're running out of spells for Fizz. I feel okay just throwing him away and protect our Fury Horn. Okay. I don't think this is going to be like ultra successful. It's just too easy for him to have a Sharp Sight or something here. And then it's also going to flip his action post-combat, but it's just kind of the world we're in. We have to use this Mystic Shot on something, and using it on action is terrible. Yeah. All right, so we're in this juicy space to where you need a good Treasured Trash. Now, what I've historically had happen with Treasured Trash is I think I've hit like a 5-drop once. Probably cast it like 10 times or so. Hit a 5-drop once. And then all the other times it's just 0s, 1s, and 2s. It just never hits anything. I'm also the unluckiest person in the world, but just never wants to be successful on my side of the table. What do we got? Get excited, you're not cutting it. Ugh, that was the worst draw on the deck. Okay. I wonder if he ever just passes. If he passes and we get to pass, this is like super, super good for us. Golden Aegis. Interesting. Okay. I mean, is he gonna like grappling hook? Is that the other thing coming out of this action? That seems okay. Weird. Alright. Let's roll the dice. 8 fresh cards in hand. We're gonna hit something good, I can tell. I can tell. Oh, we hit an 8? A Jawfish? Maybe. Shell Game, not excited about. Rite of Dominance. Godwillow Sapling's kind of interesting. Wazfra's expensive. Time Trick, Risen Altar. Do we have combos for this? When I'm destroyed, summon the thing. Kill an ally. Destroy one of your mana gems. So that doesn't do it. Kind of lame. Alright, let's go with the big boy first. On board with that. We're going to be playing Jawfish this turn. I'm not excited about Jawfish, but that's the one we're going to be bringing. I'm not opposed to adding in a Shell Game. That does give us 3 mana, but if we're going to be real, we don't need the mana anymore. Now, can we do this, though? If we play the Jawfish, the circle goes on the board, and then can we Shell Game it then? To make him a 3/3? Like, see how he's targeting action now? We don't get the opportunity. We can't hold control to keep priority in this game. Yeah, it just seems so slow to go for the Risen Altar. I do like the idea of having this giant spell shielded overwhelm unit, but I don't feel like it's going to be enough. I think we just time trick. He's playing this so slow. It's so tempting to just pass here. I don't have the heart. I don't have the stones to do it. Lulu's kind of interesting. I think we just want Pokestick at this point. Well, we do have double Yordle Captain plus the Poro Maker. 4/6. We can play all of that if we want to. Lulu's not super interesting here, but that would be like 6 in attacks plus the 5/8. Eh. He's probably still our best bet. All right, now opponent's going to do his thing. He's going to be like, all right, here's Sivir. here's some other shit now that you can't do anything. Okay. I'm all on board with whatever this is. Wow. Wow. That does not feel like a value positive sharp sight. Lulu. Okay.
Leave it to me. Cool eye back.
You like it? I mean, shut up and fight.
All right, Yordle bro. Drop down this 5/5 Lulu. We'll get into combat. Seems all right. Seems all right. It's so weird. He didn't do anything. He has to just have a handful of combat tricks, right? Has to. Oh, we don't have enough mana for Lulu? Oh, that sucks. Let's just go ahead and get the Urchin off the board as well. I mean, he's going to have good blocks onto the Urchin, but I think we should be hitting with everything, and it's going to be pretty easy for us just to refill the board with this Poro thing in hand. And so letting opponent get a good trade somewhere along the way is not terrible. He does get the Warlord Horde, or whatever the big one's called, off of this attack. Is that the Horde? So we're hitting down to 3. Like, that also gets us in the world where if disaster strikes, we can still top deck out with Get Excited. But it seems like an okay space. He needs to drop a Sivir on us. He did the draw 2. Which, you know, I kind of felt like his hand was just full of combat tricks, given the way that he played that game. And so I think he's just digging for units. Grappling Hook? He's already played a target on him, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a Grappling Hook onto our 5/5. Okay. And we just need to not die here, right? If we can make it back to next turn with the Poro Cannons, we should be relatively okay. Alright, Action's doing more stuff, down to 1 card in hand. It unfortunately makes us a little short on Poro Cannon damage unless we can boost with Lulu. Ah, get excited. Ah. Perfect timing. He says, ah, perfect timing. I drew Sivir. We say, ah, perfect timing. We drew Poro Cannon. He can still, some of them do play Rite of Negation, so we have to be like a little careful here. But I think we're okay for the moment. He's got to be attacking. If he just sends it back to us, that's completely fine. Oof. Okay. Coming at us for 9. I'm going to put the Jawfish in front of Action and then get excited. The question is, would we want to... Oh, no. I was going to say we can, like, Poro Cannon away Lulu and then have the 2 Poros in hand. Discard 1 Poro to get excited, so our hand is a Poro and a get excited as opposed to just, like, the Poro Cannon. You know, so we have 1 Poro left, so if he does have the burn or the counter spell here, then we can still try and get shutdowns with the get excited, but I feel like he's going to be playing, like, a combat trick or something here. We'll just kill with the burn once he does something. Alright. Final battle is upon us. That's close. Feels like he was much more in that game than in the Karma Ezreal games. Just got crystalled. What are we gonna do? Alright. The last chance battle. Feeling okay. Feeling alright. Warm. I got this nice hoodie on. And okay, so I can't. I read the various meta reports and things, and I've seen like a Zillion pop up. It's not a Sundisk deck, it's something else, but I don't quite remember what it is. But I think that's probably where our ban is. Again, like I'm more than happy to play every deck we have against Caitlyn Teemo. We're super positive against all of those. I'm not exactly sure how things stand against lurkers now since Pyke got nerfed and the big lurker got nerfed. That was a matchup I was usually kind of like looking to avoid, but we didn't run into it enough to be like ultra scared of it. It's like I can't quite place what the Zillion deck is, and it's like I'm usually not like amped about playing decks that have a bunch of AoEs, and then Zillion just has one naturally built in, right? But God, it just feels like so good playing against the Sundisk deck those, and he's playing the full Sherryman cars out here, and so I think I'll risk it for the biscuit, as they say. All right, we're gonna start with the Lulu Fizz. All right, not a bad start. Let's get rid of the Mystic Shot. I don't think there's going to be tons of targets out of his deck that'll target it. Picked up a Baboon, but if we drop the Baboon, we can't make a Lulu play on 3. I think that's okay. Want to see a trick? I can't imagine we want to play the Flame Chompers. I'm pretty okay with just like attacking and stuff. You know, that's usually not a terrible thing. Well, Zillion always makes stuff awkward. All right. Just make. Oh, of course we draw the Poro Cannon now. Oh man. Fine. And Hugify. Still want to take down the Zillion, it's fine. I'm not ultra worried about this Azir. Okay, now we're in a pretty decent space to get the Yordle captain going, boost some of these other units. Looks pretty good. Not completely opposed to just discarding something to Bomber Twins. Or discarding like a Bomber Twins to the Poro Cannon just to get our elusives going. Oh, he's out of mana. I was like, what is this? Does he have like a quicksand or something? And he's just completely tapped out to do this. We do have to again, worry about him playing AoEs, so I don't want to get ultra heavy into these attacks since I don't really worry about the damage that he's doing. But I think this is okay. We're going to be attacking with the Flame Chompers anyways. And then we can just trade out Fizz. He's done his work. We don't have a Yordles and Arms in hand. I think that's okay. Now this lets us drop the Boom Baboon, discard the Flame Chompers to the Poro Cannon, and then play a Poro.
Our city is in your care, and you in ours.
Okay, seems like a pretty good spot. Uh-oh. That sun disc is dropping. You didn't get the memo on people playing Zillion. That's alright. I appreciate the creativity. Do we want to hit the 1-4? No, we need to hit the 2-2. We can bring these over. And then if he wants to block one of our big boys with the Soothsayer, it's going to die. If he wants to block Lulu with the Soothsayer, we can pokey stick it down so that we have the blocker off board. Alright. Looking good. There's a time bomb. We got something cool in here. Scholarly Climber's okay. It's I don't really want to be picking up these 1 health units if he's gonna throw down the time bombs, but I think we look okay here now.
That way, probably. You would give me the allegiance of your city. You have given us
Okay, so the time bomb won't kill anything. Then we should be pretty good to end this one. Just not blocking this. I don't know or wonder if he's going to have a shaped stone, but we're not in any danger of dying here. So let's not lose a unit and then get in with the open. The only place that this is particularly bad for us is if he has a the 7 mana thing that gives your opponent's units -2 attack. I think we might even kill through that, though. I mean, he's at 6. He blocks our big boy and Spirit Fires. We hit for 2, 4, 5. Azir Araz. Okay, so he's going to get 2 blockers out of this nonsense. I think that's okay. Okay, we'll want to let the combat end here. In case he has a Scrying Sands or something to give something neg attack, we definitely want him to fall to 1. Let's poke him with the sticks. Oh my god, we gotta win before the sun disk pops. I can't sit around and just watch that shit. We already had to do it once. It added 10 minutes to the video, and so... Alright, you're welcome. I saved you. I saved you the minute. Whew. Alright. Let's get in there. Taliyah Ziggs ready for battle. Who does he bring out? Switches to the Caitlyn deck. Okay. Alright, so let's just start with the Rockhopper. Look for some other cheaper plays. Get in there and do some battles. We feel if he plays Teemo about dropping the Hexplosive Minefield. I think I would do it, right? We're just going to be curving units the rest of the way, and like we're not super likely to have a Desert Naturalist target on turn 4. I think it's okay to skip on it now, but I don't know. That is still kind of tempting to just like drop. It's not optimal all the time, but like given the way our deck is going to sequence out, it would have been reasonably powerful. Right, because now it's like we're going to drop the Endless Devout. He's probably not going to kill it. Then we got the like Desert Naturalist for nothing, or we have a, you know, it just feels ultimately pretty awkward. 2 puff caps. 5 in the deck, hitting the 2 puff caps. Blocking. This is kind of tough in that we're about to roll into this Taliyah with no landmarks to target, but I think I'm happy getting the two 5 attack units on the board.
If it was important, they should have built it better.
We can stall for like 1 turn and not feel terrible about it. Also lets us build up to this big thing on turn 6 to where we drop a Minefield and then drop a Taliyah and stun 2 of his units.
3 times over.
Advanced Intel. Okay. All the mushroom cards. I actually didn't hate playing those in Expedition. We played such like draw heavy decks in Expedition. It always felt pretty decent playing the natural spells. I don't know how I feel about it today. That looks pretty bad for us. He just hit a lot of things.
Notify patrol to close in on this location.
We'll prepare him a nice welcome.
Okay. No, thank you.
Give it chase.
Don't think we need to quicksand here. It's like I kind of want to get this other stuff on board. Because we're not going to lethal next turn, I don't think. Yeah, let's just take the 2. We'll drop the Unraveled Earth, we'll drop the Ancient Prep. This is a little scary drawing a card off of the Ancient Preparations, but I think we'll be safe enough. The annoying thing with this, I think we did mess this up a little bit, because now we can't copy stuff with Taliyah. She's going to be flipped, but we can't copy the Taliyah in front of to get the boom on Caitlyn. We can still do this. We can drop the Chemist and then see if they play a card, but
Suspicious activity detected just outside.
it's slightly awkward.
Stay on 'em. Backup's on the way.
Right, because the Minefield's not going to have any space here. But if we didn't play it, then our Taliyah wouldn't be flipped either.
I will weave my own path.
Okay. Uh-oh. Here comes the stuff we don't want to see. Take 1. All right. Okay. It's so scary watching all that shit hit. Because we're not going to get a lethal this turn, right? Doesn't even have to block.
Hello there.
Turning yourself in?
Dude. What's Caitlyn hit us for? Like 3? I kind of missed out on that. She hits us for 2. Alright. So maybe it's not terrible. That wasn't our greatest sequencing. But I think we're okay. He needs a bunch of card draw to stop us. We have the Quicksand in case he has Teemo. I think we should be safe.
Just give me something to chase.
Would you look at this place?
We just won't tap under 3. And then I'll feel pretty okay about what's happening here. Lose some stuff? Sad day. No, I mean, the Diaz is the only thing that really gets us going with units here. I mean, sure. Trying to get a kill with the Hexplosive Minefield on the right of the Arcane. It's like we're kind of wanting to play a unit that doesn't matter, and then we can kill one and stun one and hopefully kill with everything. Drop your unit, play your unit, play your 8-mana unit that we can interact with. It's like, you don't want to see stuff like the Arsenal. You got to like pick and choose how big you want how bad you want your 8-cost unit to be. So you want to you want to drop the 7/7 from Demacia that can't be targeted. By all means, that's on you. The Arsenal, maybe not.
I wouldn't want to be in your shoes either.
Did he disconnect on us? Just thinking of the perfect unit to drop. What's happening, my dude? All right, well, I guess we'll drop the right of the Arcane. Not exactly how we intended it to go, but I think he might have given up on his prime glory and dropped his phone in the toilet. Maybe we were taking too long and playing too slow. He's sitting there. He's on his break at work. Dropping a deuce in air quotes, you know? And then he just ran out of time. We got these American toilets out here, so he's sitting in the bathroom and people looking between the cracks in the door and the stuff. Watching him take a dookie. All right. GG's. Give us a prime glory. I think it's like our 6th in a row or 7th in a row. I don't know what it amounts to. Glory total 6. We already got the 4, and then we got up to 6. So I don't know. I guess we qualify for something with that. Again, I think we'll be able to push up high enough in Masters to qualify for seasonals, but we should have enough prime glories to get into whatever that gets you as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, fairly typical. Everyone tends to just ban Scouts. Again, like I think Scouts is, if not the best deck in the format, it should be considered a tier 1 deck or an S tier deck. Just doesn't have enough volume behind it these days, since I think people have been playing with Sun Discs and everything. It really kind of drops the numbers when people are trying all the new things. Now, I do concede that like the Vanguard Sergeant hit was pretty bad. The Sharp Sight hit was kind of whatever. The Vanguard Sergeant hit was actually pretty bad to have him only be a 3/3 now, but I still think the deck is really powerful. Of course, we play the Stony Suppressor version. As you can imagine, against a lot of those decks that we played against today, not so much the Sun Disc, but the Ezreal Karmas, it's great against. It's great against the... What's her name? That guy we played in the last round with the Teemos. Like Teemo doesn't want to be paying extra mana for all his spells. It's pretty easy to find matchups to where the Stony Suppressor is good. And then as we had that, kind of nightmare scenario where our opponent had both Pantheon and Victor Riven, and we banned the Pantheon, the Stony Suppressor is quite good in that matchup as well. And so that's what I'm preaching. I don't know if my next video is going to be another Scout video. I feel like I'm just going to play Scouts about once a week. It's the balance of what I want to do and the decks I want to play compared to making sure everyone doesn't watch me just play 7 to 10 hours of scouts every week. So we should have another one coming up here soon. I'll make sure it's been a week since we've played it before I play it again. But that is the scouts deck. Again, Taliyah Ziggs, pretty straightforward. This has become kind of our bread and butter deck because everybody just bans scouts. And again, we play the Ancient Preparations version. I really like the Ancient Preparations. It helps us dig around and find the right thing at the right time. I've been pretty happy with it. I've been pretty happy with 0 Poke Sticks as well. That's the way Bust does it. And then, of course, Yordles and Arms. Extremely, extremely powerful. Also think that this is a tier 1 deck. I don't quite think Taliyah Ziggs is. It may be. I think it's something that's just like slightly below. It'd be like tier 1.5. I think Taliyah Ziggs is rated pretty highly these days because it really trounces the Sundisk specs. But Yordles and Arms is another deck that is just absolutely fantastic against everything in the format. And so highly recommend it. It's still good. Yordles and Arms, again, it's on Riot's radar to get the nerf. I think something will probably come about it, but again, as you could see with the changes out of this patch, the concentration of Yordles and Arms is super, super low now, and so we aren't nearly running into it. We used to run into it quite frequently, not nearly as much now, and so it seems pretty something that should be on the rise of the things coming forward. But that's going to do it for us. Another Prime Glory. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. You learned how to squeeze them butt cheeks a little bit better. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.